In the last lesson, we identified the EEIs that must be answered. Now we move one level closer to real work. Where do we search first? Which query do we use? Who owns the task? How much time do we allow? And what evidence counts as useful? A collection plan is not a list of websites from your bookmarks. It is a route to evidence, and every stop on that route serves a specific EEI. By the end of this lesson, we will have a plan another analyst can execute without guessing how we intended to search.
Without a plan, attention follows whatever source is busiest and easiest to enter. Comments, short videos, and social discussions are abundant. They can keep an analyst occupied for hours. Meanwhile, the material that actually confirms a legal entity, penalty, or lawsuit status may be buried in a filing, court database, or regulator page. The plan does not dismiss social sources. It gives them the right role. Search high-value sources that directly answer the EEI first. Use media and social content later for context, leads, and counter-evidence.
Every collection task defines at least 6 things. Which EEI are we answering? What are the priority and backup sources? Which keywords, identifiers, time ranges, and filters will we use? Who executes and who reviews? How much time is available? And what evidence should the task produce? For confirm the contracting entity, the expected output is not checked the registry. It is a unique identifier, official name, and evidence connecting the brand to the contracting party. The more concrete the expected evidence, the easier it is to judge completion.
Sources can be grouped into 4 broad tiers, but do not memorize them as a permanent league table. The first tier contains original documents, official records, and direct publication. The second contains professional databases, institutional reports, and structured public data. The third contains credible media and expert analysis for context. The fourth contains social posts, forums, and comments for finding leads. The EEI changes the weight. To verify what a social post originally claimed, the post itself is a key source. To confirm an administrative penalty, the regulator's decision usually matters more. Ranking always returns to the question.
A reliable sequence is subject, time, event, relationship, and explanation. First confirm who the subject is, then limit the time range and establish a baseline. Next, verify the specific event and original document. Only after the event is confirmed do we expand related entities. Finally, compare explanations, look for counter-evidence, and judge the effect on the PIR. The sequence is not rigid. If the subject turns out to be wrong, go back. If the event happened 2 years earlier than claimed, rebuild the time baseline. A useful plan expects correction.
If the subject is not confirmed, every later record may be attached to the wrong entity. Record the standard name, unique identifier, aliases, former names, and official domain. Separate the brand, parent, subsidiary, and proposed contracting entity. Then define the time window so an old penalty is not treated as the present state, and 1 month of hiring is not called a long-term trend. Confirm subject and time before expanding at scale. That one discipline prevents a great deal of rework.
Search expansion also needs layers. Begin with name variants, former names, foreign language names, and unique identifiers. Then search for events and original records directly related to the EEI. Expand a connected entity only when that connection could change the judgment. For every relationship, record the type, evidence, and effective period. Following every visible name will quickly pull you away from the original problem. Park low-value relationships and define when they would be worth revisiting. Giving each EEI a time box is one of the simplest ways to prevent endless drilling. High-priority tasks receive more time. A low-priority lead may receive 10 minutes for an initial check. When time expires, write the provisional result instead of quietly adding another hour. A genuinely high-value lead can justify an extension. More copies of the same information cannot. At the end of every time box, update status, information gap, and next step. The team can then see where the investigation time went. Expected evidence must be written in advance because it tells us when to stop. An entity task should produce a unique identifier and authoritative relationship. An event task should produce the original record, event time, and current status. A trend task should produce a time series and normal baseline. Stop when the threshold is met or when the marginal value of more searching becomes low. If critical evidence cannot be obtained publicly, convert it into an information gap. Without a stop condition, keep looking becomes the default forever.
One failed page does not make the question impossible to answer. If an official page disappears, check web archives and historical links. If a database returns nothing, try aliases, former names, and unique identifiers. If language is the obstacle, search in the local language with original terminology. The same document may also exist in a lawful mirror or another official page that cites it. A backup path is not permission to substitute a vaguely similar article. Record how the substitute relates to the original source and whether reliability has changed.
In our case, the company's careers page suddenly disappears. First, save the current access date and time. Then check archived versions and count how the number of openings changed. If the archive is incomplete, continue with job IDs, the company domain, and the recruiting entity. Compare the dates shown by the official channel, job platforms, and search caches. The full history may still be unrecoverable. Do not invent a smooth trend line. State the period covered, the missing months, and how that limitation reduces confidence in the trend judgment. A collection log records searches that worked and searches that did not. Save the query, filters, platform, execution time, valid result, source link, and evidence ID. Also record no result searches, access failures, and sources that turned out to be irrelevant. Link every result to an EEI and state whether it supports, weakens, or does not change the judgment. The next analyst should continue from the point where you stopped instead of repeating the same query. Nothing found is not a conclusion by itself. It becomes useful only when the search scope can be reviewed. State which platforms and time ranges were checked, and whether you used the standard name, aliases, foreign language names, or a unique identifier. Separate 3 outcomes: not found in the defined scope, source does not cover the subject, and access failed. That is why no penalty record found cannot become the company has no penalties. A failure log limits the conclusion and prevents the team from duplicating work. A collection plan is not written once and followed mechanically to the end. If a new legal entity appears, pause event attribution. If the event date changes, recalculate the baseline. If strong counter-evidence appears, add verification tasks rather than lowering its priority. When a high-value EEI is complete, move resources to the largest remaining gap. Keep the version, reason for change, and approver for every reorder. During review, the team can explain why the investigation changed direction. Suppose we have only 2 hours for a quick company risk check. Use the first 20 minutes to confirm the legal entity, official site, and contracting relationship. Spend 40 minutes on lawsuits, penalties, and enforcement records. Use 30 minutes to build a timeline of hiring, executives, and announcements. Spend 20 minutes on customers, projects, and independent reporting to look for counter-evidence. Reserve the last 10 minutes for evidence, gaps, current judgment, and next steps. This is not a universal schedule. It demonstrates how time budget follows EEI priority and expected evidence. The complete plan table connects the work from the previous lessons. Each row contains the EEI ID, task, priority, and backup sources, query method, owner, reviewer, start time, and budget. It then records expected evidence, minimum threshold, stop condition, current status, valid result, failed attempt, gap, and next step. The table is not paperwork for its own sake. It shows where time was spent, where evidence came from, and which question remains unanswered. Take the 5 EEIs from the previous lesson and give them a 1-hour collection plan. Choose priority and backup sources for each. Write the keywords, unique identifiers, and filters. Assign time boxes, owners, and expected evidence. Add stop conditions, failure log rules, and triggers for updating the plan. After execution, some questions will still be unanswered. The next lesson focuses on those unknowns: how to build an information gap table, which gaps could reverse the conclusion, which only reduce confidence, and which can be accepted for now.